Very happy to say we can speak to Omar Rahman, a fellow at the Middle East Council on Global Affairs in New York. Always good to see you, Omar. Is this the win for Israel and the US?
It's hard to describe it as a win, but it definitely advances, I think, Israel's plan and the U.S. plan. I mean, I think we need to just step back and recognize, first of all, that this entire process, from the ceasefire to the 20-point plan to this UN Security Council resolution, was all dictated by ultimatum, by U.S. ultimatum, that either accept the terms that we're putting on the table or will, unleash Israel to continue its genocide in the Gaza Strip. And so everybody essentially was brought along with that. Even those who objected to the terms essentially didn't want that to happen, that viewed a very problematic plan and resolution as a lesser evil than allowing Israel to continue on. And so I think that's where we've gotten where we are. There's been very little input, I think, from other states for the UN, but this is a very even vague terms. Even the Board of Peace and all these things, which are very problematic, have not been filled out yet. We don't know what they're going to look like, and people's participation within those things, participation within the International Stabilization Force, and their willingness to do what Israel wants, which is to have them go in there and disarm Hamas. They're going to be very reluctant to do that unless there is, a broader framework here that they're going to agree to. And so none of that exists at the moment. And so I think things are still very fluid.
Yes. And so how does one uncover and detail how demilitarization would happen? To ask a foreign soldier to confront a Hamas fighter, I mean, obviously it won't happen on one-on-one, but you can almost imagine an Indonesian unit being confronted by a Hamas unit.
Yes, exactly. And all those countries that have voiced a willingness to participate within this International Stabilization Force have also caveated that on, an unwillingness to go in there and disarm Hamas, again, absent or undetached from, detached from, some larger political framework that they can agree to, that the Palestinians are on board with. Because again, the Palestinians have no voice in all of this. And of course, Hamas has rejected the terms of this agreement that it will disarm absent the creation of a Palestinian state, or at least a process toward that. So I don't think, again, filling that in, the U.S. is not even putting its own soldiers in there to go do that work. Other countries are going to be reluctant to do it too. So we'll be at a bit of a stalemate, and there can be some negotiation over the terms of this. I don't think any of that is fully settled yet.
For Middle Eastern countries, Omar, where is the key? Who has the most ability and leverage to be able to guarantee that the Palestinian people get what they have been wanting for years? Not necessarily statehood, but at least security, at least being able to bring up their children in a way that most of us can in the rest of the world. And the person I'm thinking about most here is the guy who's about to arrive at the White House. What leverage does Mohammed bin Salman have? What can he do for the people of Palestine?
I mean, it's a good question. I would say from the start, there is no white knight, no savior coming for the Palestinians. What you need is a united international community, a united Middle East that can exercise that type of leverage. And what you also need is a united, legitimate Palestinian representative voice, which has been absent for a number of years. So the Palestinians also have to put their own political house in order. Now, again, those Gulf states and Mohammed bin Salman, who's heading to Washington, do have leverage with this president. And, we can talk about principles and justice and all this kind of stuff. There are raw politics happening at the moment. And so you need people with leverage to push back on the United States, people with influence on him. And so, we're hoping, I think, that Mohammed bin Salman will take that upon himself and the country of Saudi Arabia and representing the GCC and the wider Middle East, and start to apply that type of pressure and leverage and deal making with this president, who I think respects those countries and those leaders. And he's shown that. So it's about, again, exercising that type of leverage. We'll see what Mohammed bin Salman does. I expect the bulk of this meeting in Washington today will be about the bilateral Saudi-U.S. relationship. But there are rumors and reporting that he's also coming with a vision for the broader Middle East that includes Palestine, that includes Gaza, that includes Iran and Lebanon and Syria. And if he can get a buy-in from the president for that and bring him along I think that will give some more leverage in terms of what's happening in Gaza that we don't see now, because the Israelis are not providing that alternative. They are not bringing a united region together. In fact, they're proposing Israeli hegemony over the region by the force of a gun, and that's supported by the U.S., which requires U.S. money, financing, U.S. arms and military and diplomatic support. And we're seeing the repercussions and the fissures happening in the United States because of Israel making and putting those demands on the United States. So this is a very fluid situation again, and we'll see ultimately what comes out of the meeting in Washington. But it can have consequence. It can have influence. So we'll see what Mohammed bin Salman asks for.
Omar Rahman, thank you so much indeed for the analysis.